Alright, I got a cute little video for you guys today. Just felt like putting this out there because for two reasons. For one, I think maybe it might be useful, but also because I have two tiny announcements. I'm going to be committing to this streaming schedule on the screen here. Every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday, I'll be streaming at 5 p.m. to midnight. Now, I also mentioned that there will probably be other days that I just stream anyway. Depends, but I will be committed to these schedules at the very least. And if I ever have to change these schedules, obviously let people know ahead of time. And the place that I will do that is the other announcement, which is I now have a Discord. I just made one yesterday, and if you would like to join it, you're more than welcome. The link is going to be in the description. As for what's going to be there right now, it's kind of just a little bit bare bones, but I'll have sort of POVs for every character I've played in the league and their actual in-league sheets with everything that I had. And not every character, because some of them are kind of lost in the wind, but those will be there. Obviously, there's just going to be other people there that are going to talk about stuff. But I also want to mention that there's going to be there's a text channel that is not my POVs, but featured POVs. And I had this interesting idea, if somebody in my Discord has a build that they're making, or they improved upon in some way, it's their POV, right? It's their thing. If I look at it and I'm pretty impressed, or maybe if I want to play it myself, then I'll go ahead and feature it in that text channel and other people can see it. I don't know, kind of like a little platform for them, I suppose. But then also, if I pull a build from there that I actually want to end up rolling and playing, then I'll also probably cover it on the YouTube channel, and full credit will obviously be given to the person that created it. So that's, that sounds fun. Yeah. Another thing I'll say too is you'll have access to, you'll see my Discord account, and don't be shy. If you want to message me with questions and you don't if you've got a question about a thing on my YouTube channel and you need a faster answer than writing it in the comments, then I'm not gonna complain if you send me DMs. That's not a problem. So I can get back to you faster, because it's much easier to notice that than a YouTube comment. I only check YouTube comments once or twice a day, so that'll get to me quicker. But yeah, if you want to join, that's awesome, and thank you. Alright, so if you're somebody that has always wanted to get into armor stacking and it's too intimidating for you, similar to how the instacking kind of thing has always been, then I'm kind of making this little thing for you. And before I go into anything, I just want to say that if you are interested in me making more content around armor stacking for any reason, whether that be deep dive or some other guide related content, whatever you might want, but deep dive mostly, if that is something that interests you and you want to learn about armor stacking in that way, then I'm more than happy to make that video. And the only reason I would actually be willing to do it is because I'm on the champion variant. Because there's a guy out there named Big Daddy. If you want to learn about Scion armor stacking, go to him, don't go to me. I'm not the right place. I've never even leveled a Scion, let alone played a build on it. So that is just not my ascendancy. Maybe one day I'll do it, but I haven't done that yet. I'm really enjoying the champion ascendancy so far, but yeah, I'll pretty much just gonna be taking you through some basic stuff on how much money I spent and the gear that I went to get to this very entry level build here. And I'm going to showcase two things for you. I'm not going to be doing an Uber in this video. Well, first of all, if people express interest in the build, then I mean I'm taking this build further regardless of this. But if people express that they want to see more of it, then I will be absolutely doing an Uber showcase. I will do a risk showcase, even though it doesn't seem like it's going to be the best risk farmer. And yeah, so Ubers and risk and whatever I see. Oh, maybe a Valdo showcase, that's kind of part of the character's purpose. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just this thing, because it's a DPS type check thing, and then I'm going to go into Delve. Not because I want to kill anything, and I'm only at 600 depth in Delve, so I'm not crazy deep or anything, but I'm just going to showcase why I like this build so much, and why I'm wearing the shield that I'm wearing versus the dual wielding stuff that other people do. So basically, I'm just going to start up this boss real quick, because this boss, he's got a decent chunk of HP, right? So it'll be a decent idea if you've done the boss a few times as to what kind of DPS this kind of budget is going to have, and it's not that insane. I will show the POV after this small demo. but it's also important to remember that armor stacking is also something that like has basically no ceiling, very similar to int stacking. You can basically take it as far as you want. Multi mirrors, get billions of DPS. You know the drill. I don't know why this load time is taking so long. Oh great, I'm not gonna be able to see anything.
And now we stand on the edge of
Nothing here can kill me.
A brighter future, a secure future for one.
But I don't want the shit to be ugly.
Nothing is secure within the reality of torment.
You'll notice the DPS is going to be pretty until I have Vault Smite. But when I have Vault Smite activated, which for me the duration is 18 seconds, but it's actually more like 26 or something because I have the Rune Graft for longer buffs. Yeah, you see how I can't see anything? I don't know why it does this sometimes. But it doesn't matter. I don't think anything here can... Alright, so now it's Vault Smite, and you can see the big difference in DPS there.
The Atlas is everything we see.
I can take this too, right? I don't know, I didn't even see my HP move. Alright, I would like if you could spawn things. Okay, so yeah, so normally these things, if you stand inside of them, they hit you with all their projectiles at once and it'll fuck you up. But a build like this, you can just stand inside and get hit by all of them and it doesn't matter. You can stand inside the fire, it doesn't matter. Even if something hits you, you recoup so fast. Yeah, armor stacking is pretty insane for that.
The Atlas is everything we see.
Try to tank this. Yeah, you can take that too. But yeah, I think the quickest way I'm going to get more DPS is going to Awaken GMP and Awaken Multi-Strike. Spend about 300D, it'll be about 40% more damage.
Her power is an illusion made.
Oh yeah, here's the Merc I'm using. Just, it's Doriani, and her negative lightning res is only minus 76 because use Purity of Element on this build, and so you're kind of always going to give her some stuff. And there's like some ways around this, I believe. I could use a different Merc and give Ichimonji to it, which makes my auras not do anything to it, but I actually kind of like my auras working on them, but that'll be in a deep dive related thing if I wanted to go over that. See what the roll is on this. Terrible. Alright, so... this build is actually quite good at delving, to be honest. It kind of fits the bill for most of what delve is asking from you. Alright, let me see. How deep can I go? Is that not how you... How do you, Here we go. Alright, 749. I want one with map mods. Okay, this is a good one. Ignites, extra fire, they also crit. Sure. And it's a Harbinger one, so there's gonna be a lot of monsters. Alright, where's the portal? There it is. Alright. Now I'm just gonna let Jesus take the wheel. So this is why I like the Aegis. And it's you know, it's just like you're nearly immortal when you're mapping. And in this kind of situation, I'm obviously somewhat immortal here too. You can do this in the darkness as well. But yeah, this is why I play this build. This is what I like. You probably noticed in my previous videos that I have a tendency to sacrifice DPS for defense. But my favorite builds of all time are always the builds that generate their offense through stacking defense. like the Ephemeral Edge Trickster, when you could use Splitting Steel. That was my favorite thing ever. Strength stacking is always cool because you're stacking a bunch of life. It was the only way to make life viable. So yeah, that's my little showcase there, and then I'll just hover the gear in game, show the tree on POB, show the stats on POB, and then you know, be done real quick. And again, let me know if you want to see more of the stuff on the build. If you want to play something like this, just understand that it's not going to farm Breach, it's not going to farm Legion, it's not going to farm much risk content. It's a different kind of character. It showcases, or it specializes in Valdos and Uber bossing and things like that. In that way, it's moderately similar to the Molten Strike of the Zenith character. So if you like that skill, and you like that style, then Molten Strike Champion Armor Stacker might be your thing to get into, because that's exactly what's happening to me. That's what I'm doing. So the gear, you use a Replica Dream Feather, 1% increased attack damage for 450 armor. This thing was only about 2 divines. I bought one with really high attack speed. None of the other stats actually really matter much. You can obviously get a little bit more armor, but nothing crazy going on there. Let's just circle it. I bought this Fractured 12 Divine, crafted the thing myself. You just use the mana reservation essences until you get a high tier intelligence roll, and then ideally a high resistance roll that you can roll into whatever resistance you need. I got 30 lightning res and just kept it. And then once you have your suffixes done, you lock suffixes and you use Veiled Orb, hope to get +2 to AoE, and you repeat that process over and over again until you have +2 AoE with an open prefix, and you just craft on the energy shield, and that's your budget version of the helmet. And this helmet is very important, and there's much better variants, and I will explain as to why it's so powerful on the build and why it's the first item you should actually mirror on this build if you're going to mirror anything in a deep dive later, because there is a lot of logic to it, and I think it's pretty cool and worth discussing. Shield, Aegis, if you're going to buy this, you're going to look for the higher amounts of armor and energy shield on it. Everything else is kind of irrelevant. Obviously, the increased elemental damage is kind of nice to have higher roll, but it doesn't actually really matter. It's a very small number. It's mostly just about the armor and ES on the base in terms of what things can roll, so they're not that expensive. I think this one was 8 divine. I got a pretty well-rolled one, so that was moderately expensive. You can go like 395 on that prefix and probably get it for like 3 divine. You use this amulet because you're reserving so much of your mana. This lets you just completely ignore even worrying about getting anything mana, like mana leech. No, you don't need regen, you don't need anything. You just use your ES pool, which obviously, as you can see, you just literally infinitely regen it, so you never even notice. And then this is just like, yeah, I mean, you probably know about this tech, right? And then you get a big old chunk of ES. Mine's not even that well rolled, but I wanted the determination aura effect, so this I paid like 10D for that. The body armor, this is the more budget version. Doing the evasion ratings increased by overcapped cold. It's less efficient than the armor increased by overcapped fire, and I can't actually tell you why because I don't know yet what the actual difference is. But once I find out, you know, these are things that I will know before I make a deep dive, because I wouldn't make the deep dive without knowing it. I did not craft this one because if I wanted to find one with a fracture, there were none that weren't crafted. Ooh. And this is the cheapest one that was crafted. This was 180D, and you know, it's pretty damn good. I can't complain for a, but this is going to be your most expensive part of the budget, by the way. Like, this is going to be the most expensive part. You're going to spend at least 150 divine on the body armor, and everything else you can kind of go a little bit cheapo on, but the body armor is never going to be cheap. It's just not possible because the crafting process is complete AIDS. And then I figured a nice budget way to approach the cold resistance version is getting a sapphire ring with a tier 1 cold res fracture and then crafting the stats that I needed on it. I don't know how long it took to craft this, but the base was nearly free, right? It was maybe like 20C because no one else is buying that, so maybe I spent like 5D crafting it or a little bit more. Obviously you get Nimbus, which, what is it right now? It's up to 55 divine. It's actually going up in price, which is interesting, but I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. So there's your Nimbus. You need this. It's Molten Strike. Celestial Brace with 10 Fortify. These are 60. You really want this? I guess you can save... Well, what can you save? Like You can save 10D by getting 9, but just go for 10, man. Mage Blood is under 100 Divine right now, so that's really cheap compared to the usual. And then the boots are basically free. This implicit corruption, I think I paid 1 Divine for. It scales Vol Smite, so that's cool. Yeah, that's the gear costs. I mean, that's, you know, what is that, like less than 400D, or just over, whatever. Dying Sun, this is like what I think I paid like. Okay, well apparently it's more than I thought. Somewhere between 25 and 30 Divine for a pretty well rolled one. Then all your flasks, you just use Sapphire, Silver, Basalt, Stibnite with Elirez, Evasion, Armor, and Life Regen, which you convert to ES Regen. And your gems, Molten Strike, Multi-Strike, Volatility, Awaken Ancestral Call, Slower Proj, Greater Multiple Projectiles. Not everybody uses Slower Proj, but I think everybody who doesn't is wrong. Use Slower Proj, just do it. And obviously you get Awaken Multi-Strike and Awaken GMP. Those will be my first 2 upgrades as of where the characters are now, because they're both about 20% more damage. So they're pretty value. 20% more damage for 150D is quite good. And yeah, and then there's just the auras, which you run Purity of Elements, Purity of Ice, Flesh and Stone. You would use Purity of Fire instead of Purity of Ice if you had the armor mod on your chest instead of the evasion. Then use Determination, Wrath, and Discipline. These are all socketed in the helmets because they're the 3 most important auras that you have. So the levels to them is more important than everything else. And then in your boots you have your Fall Smite aura, which you get 100% uptime on, and your Grace, which is also 100% uptime. And by the way, you should get these higher level than I have. I just kind of threw together what was in my stash. So for my movement skill, I use Leap Slam with Frostblink and faster attacks. You can use Shield Charge in this variant. You can also use Whirling Blades, up to you. Sniper's Mark, of course, with Mark on Hit, and Frost Shield. I'm not actually using Frost Shield at the moment, but you can if you want. It's just like stuck here. And it, you know, gives you a nice little shield. Maybe if you want to take some slams on Ubers. Yeah, there's the character in game and the amount that I basically spent on it, and now I'll just briefly go over the PoE or POB here so you know what's going on. So this is the first. I'll just go through these one by one from right to left. So this is something nice. You don't have to worry about accuracy with Worthy Foe. Now you'll notice that I have Resolute Technique anyway, and it's just because sometimes there's map mods that say monsters cannot be taunted, and I can't be bothered to be annoyed by that, so I just say fuck it and take Resolute Technique so that doesn't matter. But you still get 15% more damage, so. But in most cases, it'll save you that skill point, which is kind of cute. Then you take this. The only line on it that actually matters is 30% aura effect. The other 2 things are useless. We don't use a banner. Then obviously you take the classic champion thing that got buffed this league, which is the max fortification at all times, and the armor and evasion and attack speed scaling for all fortify over 20. And I have 38 at all times. If I am focused, I have 45. And you can see the armor goes from 1.2k to 1.38 when I'm focused. So just that alone gives another 10 or 11 million DPS there. Alright, and so the tree itself, you just come down here. You don't care about dex that much actually, so you can get your stun immunity the way I did. Just getting 10 of these stun avoid tattoos. Or it might be slightly less than 10 because there might be some other thing somewhere else, but you take Precise Technique, 40% more attack damage. You take Point Blank because it's multi-strike, of course you do. Talk about the clusters last. Iron Reflexes converts all the evasion to armor. That's why the Grace is actually important. Versatile Combatant to give us all of our spell block. Take that off, we have literally none. Put it on, you have 65. And that's, of course, with Glancing Blows, using the Aegis Aurora. That's why it's so important, because as long as you're blocking, you know, you might be like, oh, you only have 65% and it's only blocking 65% of the damage. But the thing is, though, it doesn't matter. So long as that doesn't one-shot you, which you're not going to get one-shot playing this character, you can't die. Because if you're blocking, you're recovering 2% of your armor as ES. And, you know, let's just do the math real quick. Times 2, or 0.02. Yeah, you're recovering 27,620 energy shield instantly every single time you block. So I think you're going to be fine. Don't worry about the fact that you're taking 65% of the block damage. Putting armor tattoos on every strength node you can. This is a light emitting with armor. I don't actually... this isn't the best in slot. Like later, if you have more damage and stuff, you go for energy shield one, of course, but those are really expensive. Some value ES armor, 12% all res here. I took the Runegraft for buffs and debuffs, this thing, because it just makes the Pulse Smite last longer and the Grace last longer, so, you know, I just like it. It feels good. This one is this is the best build in the entire game for this Runegraft. 40% increased global defenses is extremely valuable because you do armor, evasion, and energy shield. So this 40% increase goes a long way on this character, so if you had to prioritize one Runegraft, this is the one you would. And then because we're champion, we take all the Fortify here. This gives you what? +3, +1, 5, 6 total max Fortify. Then you take this, you get Endurance charges, and you also get a bunch of armor while you're stationary, and you're playing Molten Strike, so you're always stationary when you're hitting. Crit reduction. Melting of the Flesh to give us 90 to all res. It can be kind of annoying, by the way, if you're putting this together and you're like, oh my god, I cannot get the amount of resistances I need. Try to look for resistances on your small clusters, because they can roll really big resistance numbers. Like these ones have some, I think. Or this one, maybe. This one is fire. I guess I must have gone away from it a bit, but I also have veteran defenders, so that's another reason, I guess. I'll say that too. If you need stats, you need elemental resistances, veteran defender is insane. You should be trying to get that on this character. I already went over the Resolute technique. This is a very, very, very value node for this character. You just have to take this for obvious reasons. Divine Shield, because you're taking so little physical damage from hits, like basically 0, I think all the time, that this thing makes you regen a lot of energy shield really quickly. So just extremely value node here. Thread of Hope here to collect glancing blows, and I'll eventually unspec 1, 2, 3, these 3, and then it'll just be these 2 selected. And that'll give me 3 skill points to work with, which is very useful for future. Then you grab Zealot's Oath, this can bring all your life regen to ES regen, and then you take energy shield with the ES helmet. Mastery. Watcher's Eye, this is the one I chose to have. The best possible mod you can get is the 25 ES on hit with Discipline. If you're going to look for anything, look for that one. It's usually about 30 Divine. So, yeah, I just got the flat armor because it was basically free. They didn't charge anything extra for the armor there. So I got mine for 30. CI, of course. Aura effect. And then I choose to use the 50% duration of the Grace. And this works with False Smite too, because I just like it. You don't need it, but I like it. And let's talk about the clusters. So this one is stupid, okay? This one is perfect. These 3 notables are the best possible scenario. You don't care about martial prowess, you just get it because it puts Veteran Defender and Riot Queller up here. But this one is extremely hard to craft. I don't know. I don't know how I don't know the best method to craft it. Okay, I'm just gonna put that out there right now. I don't know. If I find out, it'll be in a future video on the build. I don't know how to do it without spending way too much money, and I'll go over that in just a second here too, because it's embarrassing. Yeah, you want Martial Prowess, Riot Queller, and Veteran Defender. Riot Queller is just some free attack block, and it also has 6% more damage because you're taunting everyone. And then Veteran Defender is extremely value. It's just like the best cluster jewel notable in the entire game, I swear to god. You've probably seen it before. It's great. And then small clusters, you want to try to get ones like the ones over here with introspection on it, and just try to fit introspection on as many as you possibly can. It gets kind of weird. Like, I don't know the best advice yet for exactly how to approach this, but basically I did half of them. Half of them are like stats, and then the other half are the introspection. So it's okay. The setup is like not as efficient as it could be, but it's what I have, and you can make it work. So now, this cluster. Here's what I did. I had a bunch of clusters, a bunch of the bases in my stash, and I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll them until I have Veteran Defender and Martial Prowess, because it's really easy to get together. And then I'm going to Fracturing Orbit and hope that I hit one of those two modifiers. So it's a 50-50 that I start with a good base. Now, I failed the first 3 attempts, which is pretty unlucky. But I got Veteran Defender on the last one. And for the next 3 hours, I was using Alteration Orbs with Regal. I was using Harvest Bench with Attack Reforge, with Fire Reforge. I believe I tried some with Speed Reforge. I was using Delve Crafting. I did like everything I could and spent 3 hours and over 150 divines to get a cluster duel that I don't even want. Like, I went broke trying to make this thing. And that's why I say I don't know how to craft these yet. What I thought would be a good idea apparently wasn't, or I just got tremendously unlucky. So for now, you're just gonna have to wait unless someone else has a guide out there for how to craft these things. I don't know. But yeah, that is gonna be it. Yeah, just let me know if you want to see more future content on the Armour Stacker, whether you want to deep dive or whatever. I love making deep dives, so if I even get like a slight amount of encouragement to do it, I'm gonna do it. Just saying. Oh, it takes like 1 or 2 guys. And yeah, just a reminder, like, I'm gonna be streaming on these things like tomorrow. From right now, tomorrow I'll be Friday, so it's gonna be 5 to midnight. Feel free to tune in, and these are all in EST. I'm not going to convert them all. Do that yourself. But yeah, I hope to see you around. And thank you for watching. Bye.